Thank you. I'm Derek Brown, and I have the honor of serving as your Attorney General. So, thank you. And I appreciate so many of you being here this evening to introduce, first of all, many years ago, I took Charlie's advice. I married the woman of my dreams, and we had lots of kids. Where is she? Is she here? She didn't leave, did she? Oh, she's right back there. There's Emily. This is my wife, Emily, right there. This is Robert Axon. He's the chairman of the Utah Republican Party. Wave, two-handed wave, Rob. Rob is a dear friend, and the reason I want to introduce Rob is because 5 or 6 years ago, he and I were serving together. I was the chair, he was the vice chair, and we had a conversation about how do we get college students interested in politics. Actually, not one, many conversations over and over. How do we get college students interested in concepts like the Constitution and freedom? And I was on the East Coast in a meeting with a large group of attorneys general when this news took place of the death of Charlie. And as I was flying back quickly on an airplane to get back here to Utah, I realized that maybe this is the silver lining. As tragic as it is, as upsetting as it is, as emotional as so many of us were, maybe this is the silver lining to get so many of you involved in politics. How many of you are college students? Raise a hand. I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here. One of the things I love doing that I don't do much of anymore, I used to teach as an adjunct professor at BYU. I taught a law class, and I used to teach my students, well, funny side note, my major at BYU, how many of you have a practical major that's marketable and useful? Okay. And then there's my degree, English literature. That's right. Okay, so as an English lit graduate, I'm going to talk about two things that I want you to think about. And my apologies if it brings you back to high school English class. Irony and paradox. There is irony in the fact that Charlie Kirk became famous speaking about ideas, debating ideas in a university. Do you get the irony of that? That shouldn't make anyone famous. There should be nothing ironic about that. Isn't that what universities are for? Now, irony is when the very thing you don't expect is what happens. Like many years ago in California, there was a firehouse with a fireman in it that burned down. Okay, that's irony. There is irony in Charlie Kirk becoming famous by simply debating ideas. Those of you in universities live in a world where there is one viewpoint that is tolerated and another that is not. Okay? And just to be really bold here, for every conservative on campus, there are 10 non-conservative professors. Unless you're in the humanities like I was, in which case it's more like 20-1 or 30-1. And who knows what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Okay. Well, here's the irony, is that you are not alone. In law school, there were times when I would make comments that were consistent with my conservative viewpoint. And I would have students afterwards, well, during class, I would have students that would say the usual stuff. Well, it's because you're a racist and a homophobe and closed-minded and whatever. But invariably after class, I would have students that came up to me and said, what you said, I didn't say anything, but yes, that's what I was thinking too. Who knows what I'm talking about? So the irony here is you are not alone, even though it feels like you are, and these institutions are set up like that. Okay, one other thing I'd like to talk about is paradox. Paradox is where two ideas are both true, even though they may conflict with each other. One of my favorite quotes of all time is the writer of The Great Gatsby. If you had to read that in high school, I'm sorry, I didn't like that book at all, but maybe you did. He said, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function." Okay, my friends, think about that concept. Paradox is where the real struggle in life is. Phrases like the first shall be last, the last shall be first. How do you find yourself? By losing yourself. Or in politics, as we've seen the last couple of days in the Middle East, peace through strength. That's a paradox. My favorite, of course, is justice and mercy. Which one do we really need, justice or mercy? The answer is, of course, it's both. Politics and religion are full of paradoxes. That's why those are the two concepts you don't want to talk about at Thanksgiving dinner, right? It's because truly the hardest thing to do is to grapple with two competing truths. Remember the guy at Charlie's funeral that had the long beard? Larry Arnn was his name, the president of Hillsdale College. He said Charlie asked him, how do I learn? How do I learn these concepts? And his response was, struggle. You struggle through paradox. And today I come to tell you a couple of things. First of all, mercy and justice are both important. If we have justice but no mercy, we've lost our humanity. If we have mercy but no justice, we have chaos. Ultimately, we need both. And as your Attorney General, my job is to make sure that justice is done, but that I don't lose my heart and get bitter as we do it. And I challenge you to do that as well. Think of Erica Kirk. Forgiving the person that did what he did, the way she did it, is the hardest thing in the world. Hating your enemies, super easy. Who can do that? Right? That's just your limbic brain. Everybody can do that. That's super easy. Loving your enemies, how's that for a paradox? What Erica Kirk did was show us how we can live with that paradox. So in the end, I would say to you, as Attorney General, I'd actually love to say, I've got this all figured out. Watch me. The reality is, I don't. And I struggle with it just like you do, okay? Because if you're struggling with paradoxes in life, which sometimes make you depressed and anxious and just struggle generally, you're normal. That struggle with paradox is just part of learning. It's part of growing, and I'm learning it. The only thing that's different between me and you is I've been struggling with it for a few extra years. But my hope and my prayer is that you can learn through this experience that truly, truly you can have a heart at peace, and that you can learn through the paradoxes to struggle. My job is to fight for justice, to fight for accountability, to fight evil, but I will not give in to bitterness or hatred or to revenge. That is how we rise after a tragedy. That is how we learn to be Christ-like, as Charlie requested, demanded that we do. And that, my friends, that's how we honor Charlie. Thank you. Thanks.